When it comes to choosing a school, students face a lot of choices, but choosing a place to live is another thing altogether. So what exactly affects this decision-making process? Natalie Land and Lakadia Mailer have both discovered the many ups and downs of living close to school.
I'm in an apartment with one of my roommates from first year and another girl who lived down the hall from us. This apartment's really cheap in comparison to renting a house in Brantford. Renting a house in Brantford is about $400 a month, and I'm only paying close to $300. So that's the big difference. Oh, it's pretty much on campus. You walk down the street and class is right there. I don't like long commutes, so that was a big factor. I hadn't come to this campus before I accepted my residence, so I didn't know what to expect. I showed up and this was the campus.
I like living away from home because I feel that I get to be more independent. Like if I was living at home, I'd definitely be more restricted in definitely the social things that I do. Some of that stuff I wouldn't really be able to do if I was at home. I miss my parents sometimes, and it's definitely a lot more money. Meeting people had a lot to do with it because I just think if I was living at home, I wouldn't meet as many people. Like pretty much all the friends that I have at school, I met in residence.
Michelle Starr and Craig McCrory both find more benefits in living at home closer to their families.
It's hard like having to buy your own food and like transportation and like stuff on the weekends. Like now, like when I'm at home, like I don't have to worry about like rent or utilities or food because that's all paid for. So I can just worry about like saving. It's easier just like day-to-day stuff, like when I have to do chores and there's more people to count on. It's not like when I'm at school, everything was I have to do. Like I have to make sure like my laundry's done, that like I clean the bathroom. Like it's just like no help because even though I had roommates, like they have their own stuff to do. Whereas at home, it's like, well, I've lived with my family my whole life. So like we like lean on each other for different stuff like that. So that makes it easier because like less pressure, so then I can focus more on my schoolwork.
The main responsibility you have is to make sure you get to school on time. When you live in res, you can wake up 5 minutes or 5 seconds before class. You don't even have to shower and you can just run to class and make it. For me, I have to make sure I get my first bus, my second bus. I have all my stuff with me. I make sure that I don't miss a class, or if a class is canceled, I don't want to take 3 hours there and back and just waste half my day. So yeah, and then in res it's brush your teeth so you don't smell.
Dons like Cameron McGregor are familiar with the transition students face when they move away from home.
When they first come in, they're very, I'd say scared, very introverted, and by the time they leave, their bedroom door is unlocked all the time, their front door is unlocked all the time, they're in other people's rooms more often than their own. So I think that's a difference that happens over the year. I think one of the biggest things that's really good about it is that it gets you out of your home, in the sense that you learn to take care of yourself. Your mom or your dad isn't there to make your meals, to do your laundry, although a lot of people in residence still go home every weekend and then come back with frozen food for the week and their clean laundry. The other 90% of them do that all themselves, and then when they do move out in second year from residence, they're that much more prepared. Or when they move out of their parents' house after they're done university, they're prepared for the challenges and maturity that is needed to survive.
Well, I think first of all that they're going away far too young. I think they need another year at home. Grade 13 was a good idea. I think when they do go away, they do learn a lot of life lessons, how to cook for themselves, how to fend for themselves. But I think that we've removed the safety net that all parents have for their kids at too early of an age.
I think when students live at home, there's less distractions for them. They can hopefully spend more time on their studies.
I would say perfect lifestyle is living away, but close enough that you can go home whenever you want.
If I had lived at home, I probably really wouldn't have any friends because I met everyone in residence.
It's way more
More bang for the buck.
All opinions aside, it's up to you to make the final decision. So be sure to do some research of your own.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at Doug's creation. What do we have here? Okay. So Doug, is this a real zombie or how did you make it?
Well, definitely it's not a real zombie. What I did was I took an average young man and we put
Pretty average.
we put about 2 or 3 layers of makeup on him to sorry about that. Put 2 or 3 layers of makeup on him to make him look a little bit more decomposed and dead. And that's what we ended up with.
You know what I really like about this whole thing is all this dead blood here, like all that dried. What did you use for that?
Just average dollar store tube blood is what you used. Most of the stuff works the same way. It's usually a syrupy, corn syrup based type thing with just different hues of red. You can also make it at home with just taking regular corn syrup and adding red food coloring into it as much as you want, or even a little black food coloring into it because real human blood is pretty dark.
Pretty dense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how did you get it so? I also like how it's really, really flaky around.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the tube blood is obviously like a liquid, but how do you
Yeah.
make it look so flaky?
That's actually because of what's going on underneath. There's a layer of fake skin product, which is also just a dollar store item that can be found anywhere. And there's the liquid latex, which is a liquid rubber film that you can apply to people's face, and you can put makeup over top of that. And what happens is when it dries, it flakes a bit, so it'll flake whatever's on top of it as well.
Okay. So, I mean, how did you learn about this? I mean, if somebody wanted to learn what you know, what would you recommend?
Well, I started on my own. There's classes you can take. People teach it. But what I started doing is every Halloween I work at a haunted amusement park, and I would do my own makeup there. They have makeup artists, but I would choose to do my own. And I just kept doing it every year and kept doing more and more people's makeup. And I eventually decided to make a serious hobby out of it.
Okay, so how many different things would you say you've done? Is a zombie typically what you do?
A zombie is typically what I do. I've worked on movies, I've worked at screamers. But yeah, zombie makeup is my favorite stuff to do just because it's like sculpting a human face. You get to change the way they look completely.
Okay. I noticed that there's a slight bit of realism. Does this actually happen? The blood sticking out of the ears here? How did you...
Well, the blood coming out of the ears doesn't necessarily really happen, but there is certain aspects of realism in the makeup. My assistant was helping me on this young man, and she is a practicing mortician, and she accentuated the death aspect of him by, showing exposed veins in his neck, bruising around the temples, change in skin tones, various just levels of bruise underneath all the change in his face.
Okay. He's doing a pretty good job as a zombie actually right now. So out of all the monsters you've done, you mentioned that you did, a bunch of different monsters for different movies and all that. But I mean, what's your favorite one to do?
I would say definitely a zombie. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Even though it's the simplest, definitely just your average zombie is the coolest thing you can do makeup wise.
Okay. And what's the most expensive one you've ever done?
Most expensive? At Screamers, we had to set up a monster that looked exactly like Jason Voorhees from Texas Chainsaw, which was kind of hard to do because we had a lot of fake blood on him. We had to buy the whole costume, prosthetics.
Chainsaw.
Yeah, chainsaw prosthetics to make his face look more like Jason.
Nice.
Is his name Jason?
No. I think that... Wait, the guy from Texas Chainsaw?
Yeah.
No, he's just deformed. The whole family's kind of deformed. That's not Jason.
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on the whole subject, but anyways, Doug, thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming on to the show. And I mean, now we're going to be going to our next segment, so I just wanted to thank you once again.
All right.